Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Good afternoon, my name is Gary Ellis, and I'm the Chair of the Board of Corporation of New College Durham. On behalf of the Board, it gives me great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to you all to our awards ceremony this afternoon. At this afternoon's ceremony, various awards will be made in relation to business, social care, childhood studies, health, design, and management, validated by Pearson Edexcel, Teesside University, and New College Durham. I'd like to begin by introducing the Principal and Chief Executive of New College Durham, Mr. John Widdowson, on my left, and to my right is James Rambotham, who's Chief Executive of North East England Chamber of Commerce. On his right is Professor Paul Crawshaw, representing Teesside University. On my far right is Mark Anderson, who's Vice Principal of New College Durham. On my left, Mo Dixon, also Vice Principal of New College Durham. We're delighted to see so many of you here today, former students, parents, friends and staff of New College Durham. Many of you, I'm sure, will have made long journeys to be with us this afternoon, and we are most happy that you have managed to be here to join our celebration. May I now invite the Principal, Mr. John Widdowson, to give his address.
First of all, can I have my own words of welcome to everybody here this afternoon, especially if you've arrived at college for the first time, but also to our graduating students. I'm sure have been here many times before. Just a quick word of explanation. You may have seen as you've arrived on the campus that we're undertaking a lot of building work over the summer. And just to say apologies first of all for any inconvenience that might cause, but to put it in context, what we're doing there is making sure that our facilities for teaching our higher education students are improved, to make sure that we can actually respond to the needs of our regional economy in things like advanced manufacturing and digital industries, and to make sure that the college continues to offer the best facilities and the best resources it can to our students. So, returning to today. Graduation is one of those important milestone events in the college calendar, and also a milestone in the lives, I know, of our students and you, their families at the back. We celebrate today not just academic success, but also the start of a new pathway for many of our students as they go out to begin their chosen careers or professions, or perhaps move on within an existing job or career. Over 500 students are going to graduate this week, having on once we gain the power to award our own foundation degrees, and every year we develop into further areas, and you'll see in the ceremony that's later on this afternoon, we'll be awarding our first year. We're also particularly pleased with the foundation degree program and others that reflect what those thank you to all, and also to mention lawyers wanted to introduce all of our foundation degrees, which will develop. Our region has always needed those skills, but perhaps now more than ever. So we're very pleased that we can collaborate with the people who are going to be playing a part in bringing jobs and new business to our region. To return to the college itself, the National Student Survey actually is undertaken every year. I think about across the country. This year I'm pleased to report that we gained a score amongst our high-level students for student satisfaction of 83%, which is above the national average and significantly above what we achieved last year. So every year we try and work with our students to improve not just their performance, but also our performance as a college. But these qualifications aren't worth very much nationally. Again, I'm pleased to report that 94% of our graduates last year went on to either postgraduate study or directly into employment. And that employment is almost entirely at graduate level. So students who work hard and gain those qualifications can be assured pretty much they can go out there and really get the return on that investment. Now that's even more ambitious from our point of view because our students come from a range of backgrounds. Obviously some students come directly from school or from a college course. Some arrive from one of our partner colleges across Europe and across the world. But others have been higher education students here, and there are some who come back into education after a long gap. But most of all, this is good to recognise, particularly this afternoon, the contribution made by students who choose to study on a part-time basis, balancing work, employment, family, alongside the really demands, high-level demands of studying at degree level. And that can be even more challenging if those people have taken a break in study for a number of years in some cases, or perhaps didn't achieve all they were capable of in school. But although our students have a wide variety of backgrounds, they've got a number of things in common. All of them have taken that first brave step to actually undertake the challenge of higher level study, which these days requires not just a financial outlay, but also hard work and that element of risk. You might not succeed. These are new things, new challenges, and you might not feel you're up to them. But I'm pleased to say that every year, all of our students measure up to those challenges and achieve better and better results. More than that, all of the students graduating this week will have chosen to study a technical or professional subject, as theoretical concepts, but also, perhaps more importantly, to problems. So that combination makes us equips them for life. But a range of qualifications that are being awarded for the pilot design program, and many of them have now gone on to work in local design enterprises across the region and more broadly. We know from talking to those employers that our students are almost immediately able to make a contribution, that they have those professional skills, they understand what's required of professionals in that industry to make an immediate contribution. On the program in childhood studies, over 3 years, every student stayed the course. Every student achieved at the end retention, achievement and success rate on their part. And very high levels of performance, 60% achieving higher grades. Most of those students are going on to high level study, but those that aren't have found employment in a related industry, related job and profession. So the picture we're painting is very high levels of academic success, but also very high levels of employment, and put those two together, very high levels of contribution to what goes on in our region and what goes on in those various businesses and enterprises upon which we all depend for their success. On the BA management program, we see a lot of our management students across the stage this afternoon. There were really some exceptional results this year, and 35% of today's graduating students achieve first-class degrees. That's a really significant and really quite a magnificent achievement. External examiners look at all of our courses, so it's not just our word that the standards are achieved. And on that particular program, the external examiner said that virtually all of those students were ready now to go on to higher level master's provision or above. So a lot of development there, a lot of firm foundations for the future. To just conclude what I'm going to say this afternoon, just a few words of thanks. I know they're going to be expressed in a far more heartfelt and more eloquent way than I can, but just on behalf of the College Board of Governors, first of all, a thank you to James for making the time in his schedule to come here. He's come all of about half a mile. I mean, from Akeley Head, so that's very good. I just keep the expenses down, so that's excellent. I'm sure that wasn't the reason we invited you. I mean, James is a very good friend and supporter of the college, so we're very pleased to see you here this afternoon to share in this ceremony. But also to the teaching and support staff of the college. You know how our students start off, where they start off. You know the journey that many of them undertake. So I'm really grateful for your time, quite often for your patience in dealing with those students and making sure that we consistently achieve that high level of academic success. I'd I'd also like to thank all the families and friends at the back of the hall. The success that we celebrate today is very much your success as well. Having a student in the family, whether they're young, whether they've come back in to study, can be a challenging and quite expensive process in many ways. So we're really grateful for you being there to support our students, to give them guidance and just give them that determination to persevere on. And my final word of thanks are to all of you, our graduating students this afternoon. Thanks for all your hard work over the years. Whilst you're at the college, you are the college. You're very much the lifeblood that surges through buildings and other things that we have here. And I'm just grateful for your perseverance and determination to see it through to the end so that you can sit there. In many cases, I know the first people in your family is to actually graduate with a degree, and it really must be advertisement that we do best out of the college as you go out into the world of work and the profession with your new status as holders of degrees and other high-level qualifications. But I always say this is one other thing I want you to do. As well as taking pride in your own achievement, when you go out there into the world of work and the chosen profession, I want you to act as an ambassador, not simply for this college, because you'll be that anyway, but for the value of high-level qualifications, not just for individuals, but also for the community and for the businesses and the public sectors, the organisations on which we all rely. Our region still has one of the lowest participation rates in higher education. So what I'd like you to do is to go out there and challenge other people to undertake the journey, to make sure that they see their own potential, they see where they can go, they see what high-level education, high-level skills can do for them, and you convince them by your example that's a thing they should do, and they should take that first step and take that risk that you've all taken and completed very successfully today. So thank you for that. I look forward to hearing about all your achievements and exploits in the future. But as you leave the college today, if you are indeed leaving, then you go with our best wishes and good luck for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'd like to invite James to present the awards to our graduates.
Mr. James Ramsbotham, I have the honour of presenting the graduates for the following awards. HNC Diploma in Bethany Ellis Finley. Vince McSkimmings. Brogan Wake. The award of HND in Business, Christy Jo Hockaday. Stephanie Will. The award, Foundation Degree, Applied Health and Social Care, Jessica Acton. Amy Louise Hazard. Amy Jackson. Jane Kelly. Nikki Smith. Claire Truby. Jennifer Winter. Laura May Younger. The award of Foundation Degree Business and Management. Kelsey Bays. Jordan Gavin. Brianna James. Sean Lindy Page Nicholson. The award of Foundation Degree Childhood Studies and Professional Practice. Congratulations to Clarissa Brown, as well as graduating, being awarded the award for the most academic improvement. Kendra Davis. Rebecca Gasson. Alana Gale. Emma Louise Guersmill. Tony Nicole Harrop. Laura Harwood. Charlotte Howe. Nicola Lister. Charlotte Rebecca Lockie. Alex Marr. Ian Morton. Holly Ann Reynolds. Fiona Reynoldsson. Amy Rose Richardson. And congratulations to Kimberly Sharp, as well as graduating, has also been awarded the award for effort and motivation. Lauren Smith. And congratulations to Kirsty Thomas, who's also been given the award for effort and motivation. Adam Turnbull. Danielle Walton. The award of Foundation Degree Public Health and Health Promotion. Catherine Hodgson. Amanda McGregor. The award, BA Honours in Design. Charlotte Anderson. Congratulations to Scott Foreman, who, as well as graduating, has also been given the Student of the Year Award. Scott Haley. Rebecca Imms. Bliss Littron Ernest. Callum Parkinson. Alex Poole. Luke Roberts. Paul Stevenson. The award, BA Honours Health and Wellbeing. Susan Fern. Lauren Jane Field. The award of BA Honours Management Full-Time. Junaid Ahmed. Hannah Algio. Maria Dolores Alvarez Morales. Sean Bailey. Carmela Barletta. James Lewis Beadle. Ryan Brown. Tesla. Deanne DaCosta. Rebecca Louise Downey. Abigail Driver. Timothy Edwards. Adam James Gladstone. Lisa Grigat. Tim Jakarta. Maytush Clack. Beverly Rose Lang. Zena Linsenman. Amy Madison. Colin Major. Sabrina Mann. Selena Matthijs. Lydia Meisner. And congratulations to Catherine Newman, as well as graduating, has also been given the Academic Achievement Award. Mark Platten. Kieran James Sylvester. Gina Chesney. Nathan Patricia Ypes Rubio. Julia Sehet Bauer. The award of BA Honours Management Part-Time, Christine Atkinson. Lucy Bennett. Jamie Brown. And congratulations to Liam Clark, as well as graduating, has also been given the Academic Achievement Award. Lisa Coverdale. Anissa Claire Creech. Haley Elvin. Charlotte Hope. And congratulations to Charlotte, who's also been given the Academic Achievement Award. Stephen John Layton. Michael McTaff. Paul McGuigan. Joanne Elizabeth Thompson. Ali Walker. Mr. James Ramsbotham, that concludes the presentation of candidates for the awards of HNCs, HNDs, foundation degrees, and degrees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Ladies and gents, I'd like to introduce James, and who's our guest speaker this afternoon. I've known James a long time. I'm sure when you hear his biography, you'll realize he's a busy guy who's had a variety of involvements in various roles. James is here today as Chief Exec of the North East of England Chamber of Commerce, which many of you might be aware, in 2015, they celebrated 200 years of championing businesses in the North East. And I know their celebrations went very well. Congratulations to James and his team. The Chamber has 4,000 members and delivers a range of support services, especially training and international trade advice. James was previously Vice Chairman of the Esch Group, which many of you will know is an award-winning North East construction group, as a corporate banker with Barclays. He worked throughout the UK and latterly as one of their marketing directors. He had 12 years soldiering in the Royal Green Jackets, which took him throughout the world, and he benefited from an executive education at both Harvard in the US, and INSEAD in France, at Oxford, after graduating from Durham University. James is chairman of the Darlington Building Society. He's honorary colonel for the Rifles in the north of England. He chairs the trustees for the Light Infantry Museum, as well as being a trustee for the Foundation of Light, which many of you will know Foundation, and is deputy lieutenant for County Durham. He gives time to Durham Cathedral, to the university, and also a member of other charitable organisations. Now, when I've read that, you'll see how we're grateful for James giving up his time today. James and his wife Carolyn have 2 adult children. They live in Durham Dales. His wife is involved with a range of event management and tourism-related activities across the region. And they enjoy sailing, skiing, and outdoor pursuits. And he's got a little bit of spare time. So it gives me great pleasure to invite James to present to you this afternoon.
Gary, thank you for that. And first of all, to all of you graduates today, many, many congratulations. This really is a very special day to recognize and acknowledge the huge amount of work that you've put in over recent years, and a real stepping stone to, I'm sure, an enormous range of very exciting things in the years ahead. Gary mentioned in his speech that last year was the 200th anniversary of the Chambers of Commerce in the northeast of England, and indeed, back in January 1815, when a number of business people came together, acknowledging that there were certain things that they could only achieve by working together because they could never accomplish them working individually. And in fact, there is a very well-known old African proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go together, if you want to go far, go together. And I think that in today's much more uncertain world, that is probably more. And I would suggest to you that one of the great things that this period here at New College has given you is not just the academic studies and the experience of everything that you've learned, but is a tremendous comradeship and some real friends that will last you for many, many years ahead. And that support mechanism that you now have amongst yourselves, that I really hope that you keep going and you continue to use that support that you have amongst you, but also this huge support that you've got in this room. And I really wish for you that you can, in a way, cast this moment in time in your minds, because in the years ahead, there will be certain moments that will be slightly more challenging for you. And I really hope that you can remember this day with this well of love and support that you have from family and friends and indeed colleagues, that gives you huge strength, feeling a little bit challenged and a little bit weaker. Just remember the strength that is in here for you today to acknowledge your achievements and what you do. Whenever I welcome somebody to come and start working for me, one of the things that I always say to them is, please, if you've ever started anywhere else and you've been told that for the first period it's eyes and ears open and mouth shut, please don't do that for me. We've got to learn so much. The world is changing so fast. There is a huge amount that we need to do. And I don't mind what somebody has done before they come. They will have a wealth of experience, but most importantly, they have a freshness of approach that I want to capture. And whilst they see us afresh, they've got to challenge and ask the questions and help us to see. Because the problem is that the more you know something, often the less you know it. And you came today thinking that the exams were over. But I've got bad news for you, because I'm going to set a little test for you now, but I'll probably get everybody to join in, because I want to just try and make a point. And the test is really simple. You can all do it. There might be one little person at the back and maybe one other that I heard earlier that might struggle with it, but 2-year-olds and upwards can do this. But it's very simple. If I was to give you a cake and ask you to cut it 4 times, so one cake, 4 straight cuts with one knife, what are pieces that you can make out of your cake? So I think we'll agree everybody can work this one out. Just in your own minds, think about that for a second. So one cake, 4 straight cuts. What's the most number of pieces that you can make out of your cake? Okay, it's not that complex, and you've all been sitting in here for quite some time and probably would love the excuse to stretch your legs a bit. So if everybody would just like to stand up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count upwards, and when I get to the number that you've got, you can sit down again. So if I start by 8 or less, anybody that's got 8 or less, how many pieces they could make out of the cake by cutting it 4 times, you can sit down. Oh, well, that's sorted out quite a few. Just to clarify, I suspect that most of you have got a cake where you've cut it like a pizza, 8 equal sizes, and that's how you've ended up with 8. So, down. Okay, we're thinning out quite fast. Just to explain to those that got 8 how they got 9, some of them may have started with a square cake, and they've used noughts and crosses, so 2 horizontal, 2 vertical, and they've divided into 9. But of course it works equally well with a round cake. 10. And indeed we'll do 11 as well. Okay, I think the 8s and the 9s will be looking confused at the 10s and the 11s, but if I explain that that's normally done, although some of you might have come up with another solution to it, by the first 3 cuts, as opposed to intersecting in the middle, you actually miss slightly, so you leave a triangle in the middle. So if you imagine it, you've now made 7 pieces, and then if you cut down the middle, you actually make 10. But in fact, if you miss a little, you make 11. Now, of course, most people don't think of that solution, because at that 3rd birthday, when you were first asked to do this by Mother, she very much said, please, please, please try and get equal-sized pieces, because we do not want a major food fight. And therefore, you've been sort of conditioned from an early age that when you cut a cake, you try and make equal sizes. But I didn't say that. I asked what the maximum number is. Okay, so we've got a few left. I'm delighted to see that there's a number of the new graduates still in this category. So 12. Well, that's definitely sorted out a few. Now, for those of you that got sat down at the earlier numbers, if you don't understand the 12, again, there's a couple of ways of doing it, but normally the most obvious is that all of those of you that did 8, 9, 10, or 11 imagined a 2-dimensional cake. Now, I'm not a great cake eater, but I know that a 2-dimensional one would not satisfy any appetite. It is a 3-dimensional object. And so what you fundamentally do is with the first 3 cuts, you cut it like a pizza to make 6, and then you cut horizontally, so you make 12. So anyone 13 or 14 cuts? Okay, well, 14 is normally the one where you've started to make 7 pieces by your first 3 cuts and don't quite intersect, so you make a triangle, and then you cut that way to make 14. Now, am I right in thinking that the remaining 7 or 8 people have got 16? Is there anyone, if you've got 16, sit down. If you've got more than that, stand up. Brilliant. Okay. How many did you get? 18. Brilliant. Sit down. Thank you very much indeed. We'll have a quick chat later. 16 is normally achieved, and in fact there are several ways of doing it, but to give you the simplest is that I never said you couldn't touch the cake. But so many of you already assume, well, the cake's there, I've just got to cut at it, I'm not going to move it around. But in fact, if the first cut you produce 2, and then you stack those 2 on top of each other, and then you cut again, and then you cut again, each time stacking them on top, you end up making 16 out of it. Now you can get beyond 16, and indeed, someone probably aged about 5 would start this by saying, well, can you please describe the cake? Because I suspect that almost every one of you in this room automatically assumed a cake of a particular shape and size. But I didn't say that, I just said a cake. And indeed, a cake made of a coiled snake, the first cut could have produced many hundreds of pieces. So in fact, there is no limit to this. But there is a limit to the way that we think, because the more often that we do something, the more often we assume that that's the way it should be done. And actually, in the world we live in, there are so many people working out different ways to do things, different ways to cut the cake. And our challenge is to capture that freshness and constantly challenge things that we've been told to make sure that they really are. That is the only way of doing it. And I really encourage all of you, because you have picked up while you've been here an immense amount of knowledge, but also, hopefully, a really inquisitive, and never lose that. Take it with you and challenge things that you are given. I will accept that in certain employment situations, you sometimes have to assess the man or woman that you're challenging, because some people don't quite take it in the same way. But there is an issue as well about always having the courage to stand up for something when you feel that it really is important and you've seen something that maybe others haven't. And one of my great, I guess, business heroes was a lady called Anita Roddick, who used to run an organization called The Body Shop. And people that were around in the 1980s will remember that actually The Body Shop was an incredibly revolutionary organization. It was not just selling the products that it was doing for us, but it was the way that it was using the manufacture of those products and the sourcing of those products to make a really environmental message about our world. And one woman setting up a business that actually did fundamentally change a lot of the ways that we think about the world around us. And often people used to say to her, do you really think that just running your business just here in the United Kingdom, you can really have that impact? And she used to say, if you ever think you're too small to make a difference, you've never been in bed with a mosquito. So I congratulate you all for today. I ask you to hold this moment in your minds and remember the warmth and the encouragement for you and the pride that you should feel in what you've achieved. But please never stop being inquisitive. Always think if you can cut the cake slightly differently and be a mosquito and really make a difference. Thank you very much indeed.
Pleased James didn't turn around and ask the top table to do that, because that might have been a little bit embarrassing in amongst the company I'm in. Ladies and gents, one of our students who's a BA Honours student in management, Eileen Schultz, to give the vote of thanks.
On behalf of all of us graduating here today, I would like to thank the college and the principal for enabling us to celebrate all our success and academic achievements. We are happy to be joined by our families and friends to share our success. For most of us, the studies we've undertaken have been both challenging and rewarding. And I would like to express our appreciation to our tutors who have always been there to support us, especially when times have been hard. Their dedication in our success. I would like to say a very special thank you to our families. They've supported us as we've progressed through the programs, giving us encouragement and tolerating our anxieties. As the next assignment deadline grew closer and closer, and then the next, and then the next. The good news is, it's all over. Your reward, I hope, is to have seen us up here today, graduating and being happy. One of the unexpected bonuses of study is the friendships you make. I'm sure these friendships will not end today, but will last into the future, providing us with hours of entertainment as we recall the good times when we were undergraduates. Finally, a big thank you to the college organizing today's graduation, enabling us to celebrate our success and our academic achievements with our families, friends, and tutors. On behalf of all of us, may I wish the college and all its students every success in the years to come.
Ladies and gents, that concludes the formal part of this afternoon's ceremony. We'd like to invite you to the East Mall for strawberries and cream reception in the main building. The gentleman in the middle who got the eggs of cake in there, so we'll put you to the test later. May I ask a favor, and I could just ask you to be seated until the teaching parties have left the platform. And that all it leaves me with is to wish you a safe and pleasant journey home. Thank you.